And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Flux Motorsport. You join myself and Toasty for round 7 of the GT3 Championship. Good evening, Toasty. How are you doing this evening?
Doing all right. I was told that the cocktails here were so good that we came back a second time, so I'm drinking one now.
Absolutely, the most comfortable commentary box on the calendar, so we came back twice. This is the only reason we're here. So, for those eagle-eyed viewers, as Toasty has mentioned, we have been here once before. Round 1 of the GT3 Championship saw Bruce get that little Ginetta off to an absolute flying start to his campaign all season. And we come back here this time in the national format, so a little bit different. I'll see if I can pick up someone now. Here is Toten, new to the grid, joining us for the last 2 races. So, as we will see here, this first section largely remains the same, but coming down that back straight, it sort of veers off quite sharply to the right up a very precarious hairpin complex, and then takes you straight down into the back of Sector 3. So we've been hearing that tyres are still have a heat problem around here, so that's not got any easier, but maybe will lend itself to some of these AMGs and Bentley-powered cars. As you can see here, this is the new section. That little dip there will unsettle just about every car you try and drive through. And then it comes back out into this same Sector 3 that we all are familiar with. So, no corner names for this track. They're all just numbers, so we are probably going to be getting those wrong, and I apologise in advance. So, bring you all up to speed. We have had a driver change, and it is with this man here. So unfortunately, Flush has decided that he is unavailable for the final 2 races. So Toten is jumping in, raced with us in a reserve race. I think he was raced in round 3. It could actually be round 1. So he's familiar with GT3 cars. Showed great pace. I believe he's running in sort of top 6 somewhere. He's going to take up the final seat for this race and next week at Bathurst. So he will be one to watch. We've also got Mays, unfortunately unable to race this time out, and stepping in for him is this man here, Reno King 98, and he has picked the Nissan GTR, which is I mean, it sounds brilliant, but another unusual choice. We've seen a real good mix of cars throughout this GT3 season thus far, and it's good to see them all get a run out. I believe this is actually his first race within the Flux community, so definitely thrown in the deep end. This is no easy grid to cut your teeth on, so we'll be keeping a close eye on him and see how he gets on. However, this is the man we are all interested in. Bruce Law currently is set. Someone, I believe it's Jack, did the maths, that provided he finishes second in the next 2 races, Blank File could win both races, take fastest lap and pole position, and still not have enough to get it done. So this is the man with pressure on his shoulders, really. Knows he's only going to get second at the very least, but he will be going for the win and a clean sweep of points, I am sure. Took the full house in round 1 of Dubai, so that car and that Ginetta perfectly capable round here. Just wondering whether he can repeat the feat again in round 7. Obviously 6 weeks of more tuning, more mauling with that Ginetta. We'd expect it to go a little bit quicker, but we will wait and see. So Toasty, what are your thoughts on this race and this track?
It's an interesting layout. Yeah, the number of corners only goes down by 1 actually, because of the chicane in the middle being more of a double chicane, really.
It's awful.
Yeah. It takes out only 1 corner. It's between turns 10 and what would be 15, but now the corner it rejoins the track, the GP layout of the track on, is now turn 14, so turns 11 through 13, I believe, are the double chicanes that cut through the middle of the track.
It's definitely bit of a strange section there, as we'll see Blankfile try and get this big yellow Bentley through it now, and it's you want them to turn it too tight, and it's this little dip there that is going to catch everyone out, especially when they go racing. You've got another car side by side who are trying to get underneath of someone. That dip is going to cause mayhem to the car. So people who have not done their homework and set these cars up are going to pay the price. Currently 12 minutes left to go in this session, and we have got a familiar face up towards the sharp end. Snarling Bongo, Dutch competitor, he's Paul Lingus, currently sitting back in 5th, about a second off. And I thought we were going to see the beginning of Snarling to turn his season round. He had actually a really good showing in Rapuna Park, but ended up settling for 7th all told, getting caught up in that sort of mid-pack fight with Immortalis, Jack Dominguez and Linga Bazinga, I believe. I believe it was Linga who came out top overall, taking 4th. So had a bit of a bumpy one for him. As you can see, that McLaren's already had a little bit of nose adjustment, but he's currently sitting on pole position with a 1:21.059, 1/10 quicker than Bruce. Toten is sitting in 3rd, 3/10 off the pace, with Blankfile just behind him and Linga just behind them. Barely a sort of 2/10 separating 3rd and 5th. So super close up the top. Linga looks like he's having a crack at it. This looks to be a quick lap. It could just be the back end of an out lap. We wait and see. As you see there, that McLaren getting unhappy over that little dip. We are going to see plenty of that. So we will a bit more sideways action. That McLaren's been very tail happy. Might not be the quickest, but it will definitely look good. Unfortunately, no style points given in this championship. Maybe that's something we should look to change. An extra point for every degree of sideways you can maintain. So, whilst these guys are still getting looks to be the tyres sort of even in, getting their eye in, let me run you down the standings order at current. So, on the top step currently, Bruce Law on 166 points, with Blankfile in 2nd. Only 15 points behind on 151. Wadge is on 112, only 54 points behind Bruce, just out of reaching range. Looks like it's going to be 3rd for him. In 4th, we've got Jack. He's currently on 96 points, with Snarling Bongo on 82 in 5th. Immortalis is in 6th on 77, and Chris Motorsport on 71. So 6th and 7th still to play for, and even up to 5th, maybe 4th if they're lucky. Dr. Potford currently in 8th on 65 points. Linga Bazinga in 9th on 54. Tibby, currently not racing tonight, is on 50 points, with Maze Gamer also not racing tonight in 11th on 49, so they're going to be standing still. CDN Trooper is racing tonight and he's on 44 points, so provided he scores relatively decent, he should be able to get ahead of them and get himself into the top 10. Best Gamer is on 13th with 41 points. Green Gaming on 17 points in 14th. Luke is on 9 points. Obviously, he only joined us last week. And Merlin, or Toten, joining the grid tonight on 16th points, on 0 points, even in 16th place. What is interesting, that if Toten can get a few decent finishes in, he might actually be able to jump himself up the grid relatively quickly. If he takes 2 4th place finishes, he will be able to get himself at the lower end of top 10. So the sort of 11th downwards, super close and not scored highly, so that could still room to have it all move around just before the season's done. But as we look back to our qualifying session now, 8 minutes left to go. Snarling Bungo still on that top spot. You can see that McLaren has had a little ding on the front there. We didn't see where it was, but McLaren seems to be flying. Wherever he's adjusted has helped. Bruce is back into the pit, so he's going to be a little bit of tinkering. Maybe he's happy with that and he's confident he can get it on the run down into turn 1. We've seen that Janetta get off the line extremely well in previous races. As you can see, Flush and Team Angie joining us in the chat. Welcome, guys. Thank you for showing your support. Angie supporting Kia Curb Clippers Sim Racing. So that'll be Bruce and Blank File, our friends from the Curb Clip community, both extremely quick, extremely great guys as well. We're happy to have them. Angie there, I think she travels to near enough every race, showing the love. So big love to Angie. We've got Flush in the chat as well. Welcome, mate. Sorry you couldn't be here tonight, but still coming along and showing support. We love to see it. So as I was saying that, it looks like Linga Bazinga has been able to pull something out the bag and has gone 1/10 quicker than Snarlin for 1:20.9. So that's him on the top spot. Linga and Snarlin, I believe they're still flatmates out in Holland, so they'll be shouting through to each other's rooms. I bet there'll be some friendly rivalry going on there. And again, Linga has had a very similar season to Snarlin in some respects. Showed brilliant pace in qualifying, and then he's just not having the luck in the races that he needs to get the results that really he should deserve. And I hope that tonight is not more of the same. We'd love to see him up there fighting for those podium spots. And you see that McLaren gets super wiggly through that chicane section. It is a horrible bit of track. That could have been why I picked it, to be honest. Just try and mix it up a little bit, give these guys even more of a challenge than driving the GT3 car alone. Let's see if this is an improvement from Linga. I don't think it's going to be, but I could be wrong, and it's not. Straight back into the pits. Not happy with that one. Let's see where Bruce is on track, if he's on a hot lap. Patel hasn't got his lights on just yet. Now it looks like it's either Luke or CDN getting out of the way there in the Renault, so maybe he is Toten, the new driver for tonight, opting to sit in the pits, maybe making some final adjustments. Luke is in the pits as well. Jump on board with Blank File as he's crosses the line on a hot lap, 4th, 3/10 off the pace in his big yellow Bentley, so he's still got a little bit of work to do. A lot of the guys complaining that even though the track is shorter, and it's probably made it worse, really. They haven't got that long straight to cool their tyres down, so, and they've still got this sweeping first section, which is the bit that actually cooks them up. You see Blankfire having a bit of a moment there. You have to be careful there. That's probably going to be a slowdown. So yeah, Blankfire put out of it. That's not going to be the one for him. Let's see where Wadge is. Currently sitting 3rd in the standings tables in that BMW M6. Good racing from him in all of his championships. Really taking the win in touring cars at Catalunya this week, I do believe. So great form from him. He's not been able to go any faster just yet. Straight back in the pits. I suspect these guys are getting into the pits after their hot lap because the tyres are done. So maybe getting their couple of laps straight back in the pits for a new set. See Jack really attacking the chicane. Super aggressive style from that Ferrari. And it appears to have thanked him a little bit for it. And let's see if this is going to do him any favours. 7/10 off of pole at the minute. Currently sitting in 7th as well. He's about 2/10 off of Totem in 6th. Is this going to be enough? It isn't. So he's going to be staying put for the time being. As I said that, Bruce has just gone fastest. 1:20.8, 4 thousandths of a second quicker than Linga. A blistering lap from him, as the guys are definitely starting to get their eye in now. No improvement that lap, but it could have been an out lap. Let's see where Linga is. Looks like he's coming into the chicane section with Wadge for company. Wadge maybe getting a little bit of a tow there. That'll probably aid his time if he's close enough. See if he can get anything done. We are seeing CDN and Luke currently with penalties, and I wonder whether they're going to be grid place penalties in qualifying for pit lane exit. double check on that. Qualifying is done. 2.5 minutes left to go, so this is becoming the final shootout. Only 2, maybe 3 laps left to get it done, depending on where you are. Linger doesn't get it done that time round. Snarling back into the pits, unlikely to get another look at it unless he's quick on the exit. Blankfile still having issues with that. Turn 3, I think, is what they'll count that. Maybe 4. Depends if you count that little jink left. One of the corners. See where Wadge is. He was just behind Linger before. See that red McLaren up in the distance. Nothing doing from him. Toten, as I said, jumping in about to cross the line. 5 tenths off the pace at the minute, so he has gone a little bit quicker. Is there anything he can do here? He can't, so he's staying 6th in the minute. He will get another go. He's going to get another 2 goes, actually. Jack just coming through into turn 1, so a little bit of time left from him. Flux Motorsport, we haven't spoken about him much tonight. Great racing from him, week in, week out, really, in that white and pink Lamborghini. He's currently sitting in eighth, 1.3 seconds off the pace, and it looks like someone has just jumped up the board there. Was that Immortalis? Jumped up and straight into the pit, so he's obviously doing extreme quality runs. Unusual to see him quite so low down, but that really does prove testament how close this grid is, really. Dr. Popford, we saw him last week get into his Ferrari and had a much better showing, so we expect more of the same from him, currently rounding out the top 10. CDN and Luke are currently racing as teammates in these blue and orange Renaults, and I am going to get them the wrong way round. CDN is the one with blue wing mirrors, and Luke is the one with orange wing mirrors. Remember that, someone write that down. We're going to need that later. Reno King, currently 3.8 off the pace in that Nissan GT3, so he's got a little bit of work to do. Looks like he's had some adjustments done to it as well. So, final 20 seconds left to go. Let's see if these guys are going to get another lap in. Linger is going to be cutting extremely close. Bruce is back into the pit, so that's him done for the session. He thinks he's done enough. Linger, Snarling, Blank, Wadge, Toten are probably all going to say otherwise. So Linger is not going to get another go, so this is the final chance for him. Is it going to be enough? Only needs to find 4 1,000ths of a second. I don't think it's going to be it, as he runs wide on the exit of turn 14. That's going to invalidate that lap. Where is Snarling? He is coming into turn 1, so he looks like he's just made it for another go. Blank file into the pits, Wadge into the pits. Toten is coming up to the end of his lap. Jack is in the final corner now, I believe, or coming into the final sector now, so let's see if he can do anything on 7th. Only needs 2 attempts to jump up into 6th place, and that will fare him much better. I believe he'll have the outside line into turn 1, which could be a little bit more favourable for that Ferrari, maybe. Let's see how he gets on. He doesn't, he stays put. Snarling still pressing on hard, 1/10 to find to get himself on the top spot. Is this the one? We wait and see. Very cautious on the exit of the final corner there. I think that's going to cost him some time. It is. So here it is. The final standing order remains as Bruce Law taking that extra point for pole position, which he will be more than happy with. This is pretty much how round 1 shaped up. They'll be sure to not let him run off with this. So Bruce Law in 1st, Linger Bazinga comes home in 2nd, Snarling in 3rd, Blankfile in 4th, Wadge in 5th, Toten in 6th. Good first showing for him. Jack in 7th, Chris in 8th, Immortalis in 9th, Dr. Potford rounding out the top 10, CDN in 11th, Reno King in 12th, Luke in 13th. Wow, who are you backing for this race, Toasty? Who's caught your eye?
I'm looking at Wadge here. I think he's going to be trying to defend against Jack Demenza's. They're 3rd and 4th in the championship points, and Wadge will be looking to keep that third position in the points to lock in his position for next season.
Absolutely. So here it is. Bruce Law is going to have the outside line into turn 1. Linga Bazinga is going to be on the inside. And we've seen that McLaren get off the line extremely well. Snarling Bongo in 3rd. Blankfile in 4th. Waj, the man Toasty was just back in. He's been great all season, really. Can't knock his performances. As he said, sitting in 3rd, looking to bank his secure his seat for next season. Top 3 keep their seats. Everyone else is fastest finger 1st. Toten in 6th in that Mercedes, definitely one to watch. Jack in 7th. Chris in that Lamborghini, that should fly off the line, I suspect. Jack would have to be careful into turn 1 there. Immortalis in 9th, and we've seen good drives from Immortalis coming back through the pack, so don't rule him out just yet, although he does look a little far away from the front. Dr. Potford in 10th, another one who you can't rule out just yet. Excellently coming through the pack and securing good points. Reno in 11th. Good hustle for him. CDN in 12th and Luke in 13th. It looked like they did take good place penalties for pit lane exit. As we come to the final minute or so of Tinker time, it's going to be a tough one, I think.
They're going to have to be very careful going into that chicane section. Hopefully they'll file in. Fine. And
here we go. The lights are going on as we come to the countdown and building up the revs. One last deep breath and it is lights out. Linger gets a horrible start, box down. That Bentley is absolutely flying from Blankfile. Bruce gets away well. He's going to have to run down into turn 1, secured. Snarling looks like he does a good job. Blankfile is hugging the inside line as they come nearly 4 wide, 3 wide in the back there. Snarling coming around the outside gives Blankfile just enough room, a little bit of trading paint. Bruce has got away cleanly. It looks like Blankfile's going to slot into 3rd there. Linga Bazinga falling back to 4th. Not a good start from him. Toten has managed to get himself up 1 spot in that Mercedes. We said that would be moving up the grid. Waj has fallen back quite severely as well. Not a great start from that BMW. Chris coming under fire from Immortalis and Waj. Now Dr. Potford picking up a spot. Reno King coming up into 10th. And Jack has fallen to the back. Maybe a little spin from him, or just not getting the start he needed. Snarling, Blankfile falling into line a little bit. Linger just tapping onto the back. Toten isn't too far behind either. Everyone's sort of finding a little bit of a groove. We see Waj getting a little look onto Chris into the chicane section here. And he's got Immortalis for company. These two have been known to have their races, their little rivalry throughout the championship. We'll keep a close eye on that one. Just looking further back, Luke and Reno King dropping off quite severely. One of them had a spin. Jack just tapping onto the back of the pack, so he has gone backwards but isn't completely out of the race, which is good to see. Getting back up towards the front, is Blankfile going to have a go into turn 1? I don't think he is. A little bit too far back this time round. Bruce has built up nearly a second gap already in 1 lap. That Janetta absolutely flying. Blankfile lurking around in the background of Snarling's rearview mirror, and he'll be making sure that every inch of it is filled with yellow Bentley. Known to pile on the pressure. Blankfile really needs to win and get as many points as he can to keep the championship alive. It is Bruce's to lose near enough. Looks like Linger is unable to sit maybe a second half of the back of Blankfile, so he's starting to fall back just a little bit. That could be a wise decision at this stage, though, just keeping the car cool. Still a long way to go. Looking back here, looks like Waj has finally got that move done on Chris into the chicane section. Immortalis trying to follow him through, but unable to get anything done yet as he runs wide there. That might allow Toten to go up the inside. It doesn't just yet. Toten often take the better drive out of this corner. Gets super sideways. Keeps his foot in. Very brave driving from him. I wonder whether the race director is going to give him a penalty for his troubles. He gets that final corner wrong as well. It looks like Blankfile is having a drag race with Snarling into turn 1 and gets it done. Is this secured though? Is Snarling going to fight back? Snarling unable to get back at him straight away, but expect that position to be swap round later on, Snarly won't be giving up that fight quite that easy. He's having a little wobble into this. That'd be turn 5, I believe. So saw Blankfile have a few issues there in qualifying, so maybe a little bit of tyre temp, or maybe there's a bump there that we can't quite see on the camera, unsettling the car a little bit. Looking back, trying to keep too much action going on in a minute to keep an eye on all of it. It looks like iMotorsports still hassling in the back of Chris. Toten has dropped way back after his little wobble. Dr. Potford and CDN closing in behind them as well. That little Renault running great, really outperforming far better than what I thought it would. So coming into the final corner now, Blankfile has built up a bit of a gap to Snarling at the minute, coming up to just about a second, but Draft shouldn't close that up too much for that McLaren. That Bentley should have the power to get that, to maintain that second spot. Linga Bazinga looks like Snarling for the minute as well. Maybe the pace being set just outside of what he's able to maintain, which would be a shame if he's not careful. He will end up falling backwards into the clutches of Waj, and it looks like just as we joined there, iMotorsports having a little bit of a moment on the exit of turn 1. That's going to cost him severely. What has that done for everyone else? It looks like that's allowed Toten to get through on Chris, so maybe just a little bit of a coming together happening there, and iMotorsports falling behind Dr. Potford, who's made his way up from 10th place, so he's gained 2 spots already. Looks like Jack is starting to get on the back of CDN as well to actually take the 10th spot. So we saw him have a bit of an incident lap 1, sorry, falling backwards. Blankfile looks like he's starting to close the gap onto Bruce, but nothing significant just yet. I think my timing board gets confused as they all bunch up through that slower section.
This race is happening much later in the year than in round 1 was when we were here before. I'm wondering if the temperatures are that much higher that they're needing to use a harder compounded tire here. You were saying earlier that it has a lack of straights. It cuts both the straights out. I wonder if we'll see any varying strategies than earlier.
I think you're right. I think this maybe caught a few of the guys out, to be honest. As we see Jack having another little wobble there. I think the guys have loaded up the setup from week 1 thinking that it's going to be much the same, but without those long straights you can't cool the tyres as much or as quickly, so you end up cooking your tyres through this section that Jack is currently going through now, and then by the time you've got to the end of the lap you've only got the start finish really to get all that cool air back into the car, to cool everything back down again, ready for another go. So very quickly it can sort of multiply on top of you, and before you know it your tyres have gone way beyond their happy point. Looking a little bit further up the grid, it looks like Snarling is starting to get on the back of Blankfile with Linga in tow, so those two obviously getting it together, obviously making a little bit of maybe some team decisions going on here. A little mistake from Blankfile maybe. We'll stick with this a little longer. Good to see the McLarens getting up front as Snarling gets a big moment into turn 1. Looks like he just got too heavy under braking there and the rear of the car stepping out. Not a lot you can do to save it when that happens in these cars, unfortunately. So that is going to leave Linga as the lone soldier. That is going to give Blankfile a little bit of breathing space, which he will be happy with, and that has neither of them been able to dent Bruce's lead as of yet. Currently standing at 2.9, 2.8 seconds. 37 minutes left to go. You have to say Bruce is looking very comfortable once again, Toasty.
Yeah, it's looking about the same situation as we saw in Sugo here, of Blank having to do that work to catch up and He did close quite close to the back of Bruce for second half of that race, so we'll see if the same happens here.
We've got Flush joining us in the comments, and he's saying it is about 15 degrees hotter on average than it was in the first race, because we're going back into the summer, going to have a lot of front left overheating in the first sector, and I think you are absolutely right, Flush. I think we're seeing evidence of it by the guys we don't normally see mistakes from making mistakes, and here is snarling, looking to undo one as that McLaren gets very unsettled in the exit of turn one again. Maybe a little bit of dirty air from that Lamborghini in front as that clips it. Looks like a braking marker. Hopefully not too much, or if any, damage picked up from that. Snarling really hasty the back of Chris now. Is he going to look to get underneath here? He's not just yet. Probably going to opt to try and get this done on the straight and under the braking zone into that odd hairpin section. Just staying super tight, trying to utilise as much of that drag and that toe that he can, and we should see here maybe a little bit under braking. No, not quite long enough. So he's going to sit for a little while longer. This could be another turn one move then. Seems to be quite a fan favourite as always. We come into turn 13, so Snarling's going to go get it done around the outside. Great move from him. Not sure what's happening with Chris, whether he let him pass there or just got himself a little bit offline. Whatever it was, Snarling seized it with both hands. It looks like Immortalis is going to try and get in on this action as well, see if he can follow Snarling through. Maybe sit just a little bit too far back at the minute. Chris will be getting the toe in turn one. You can see Snarling taking that defensive line nice and early. Nothing doing into turn one. Chris just a little bit too far back, opts to play it safe. He's going to follow for another lap. Immortalis not quite close enough. It's just within grasp, but not enough to hassle the back of that Lamborghini just yet. Although maybe this could be the lap that he gets it done. As you can see, trying to get underneath into turn what I think is 7. See him backing out into this long sweeping left-hander. Probably going to try and get the better exit, where normally on the GP track you'd have a nice long run straight to get a decent toe into a very heavy braking zone, and here it's just a short blip on the throttle and you're back on the brakes again. So nothing doing as of yet. Are we going to see a move into turn 1 from Immortalis? He's going to be opting to get the best drive he possibly can on the exit of turn 14. Try and close this Lamborghini down. As you see that gap starting to close. Is it going to do enough? Like a little lock-up on that Lamborghini there. That won't help. You can hear that Ferrari start to rev up all those revs and unleash all those horses. He's going to be too far back, I suspect, to get anything done just yet. And it looks like Chris might actually be closing in on Snarling. You see him having a little look there. Another little lock-up. He's going to want to be careful of those. That will start to wear his tyres out quicker than he needs be. "33 minutes left to go, and this is currently the closest battle we have on track at the minute. Blankfile sitting about 2.8 seconds off of Bruce. Linger 4 seconds off of Bruce, and Wadge 10 seconds back in 4th, so a 6-second gap there to the top 3. And he's got Toten for company, Wadge, so he wants to be careful. He's not really got a bit of a respite. He's not in no man's land. As we see, we can get a little shot maybe from Wadge's camera of what that gap actually looks like. And you can see Toten just in that background there, in that yellow and grey Mercedes. And as I've said that, Linger has closed up to Blankfile, and I suspect Blankfile has made a mistake, because his gap to Bruce has fallen by about 2 seconds. Linger unable to get anything done into turn 1, and as we've seen from a lot of these guys, Toast, they're not opting to try and any overtaking manoeuvres really in this middle sector. It's either turn 1 or that final turn 13, 14.
Yeah, it's a difficult section to go side by side with another car. You certainly lose a lot of time doing so.
Absolutely. Linger still unable to get anything done just yet. I want to tell you about all the great things we've got coming up at Flux, but I don't want to break away from this action just yet, so we're going to stick with it for a little while longer. It looks like a little mistake from Linger there, unable to get out that chicane quite as nicely as he would have liked. That's given Blankfile a little bit of breathing space. He's going to be happy with that. Linger getting extremely wide on the exit of 13. That was definitely not part of the track. We did not pay for that bit. Looking back, it looks like Immortalis and Chris have swapped round. So Immortalis starting to get he'll be looking to get on the back of Snarling and follow Snarling back up through the grid. As you can see, Toten, Wadge, Toten, Snarling, Immortalis and Chris all on the start-finish line together. That sort of gives you an idea of how close this mid-pack is. They are not stretched out, as the timing board suggests. And Chris looks like he's having a little look under brake in there, thinks better of it. Probably a good decision. That looks like it was a closing door. I'm just going to flick back quickly as Dr. Popford is trying to get onto Jack. And this is for 9th place. Jack defending hard. Both Ferraris going at it through the sector. Maybe Dr. Popford going to show us a little trick up his sleeve. As I said to Toasty, we've not seen many people trying to overtake through this sector. Looks like Dr. Popford's going to be the first to give it a fair shot. Looks like he's trying to get it under braking just there, get the best run he can into this sweeping left-hander. It's like he's just fallen back a little bit. This could be another lap behind. Trying to keep an eye on both of these battles for the minute. Chris still very much the same position as Dr. Popford. Sort of within reaching distance, but unable to really get the decisive blow in that he needs to make. It looks like Jack has escaped for now. CDN looks like he's getting on the back of Dr. Popford's and Jack's little train there, so that's going to become a freeway duel in the not too distant future. Chris looks like he's got great legs in that Lamborghini down the straight, and he's just not close enough on the exit of turn 14 to really do anything with it. He almost wants to be maybe 2 tenths, maybe 3 tenths closer to on the exit of 14 to be able to get anything sort of noteworthy done into turn 1. For the minute, he's sort of stuck behind, just parading. I'm going to take this lull to tell you about what is coming up in Flux this week. So after this race at 8 o'clock Eastern time, we have the Stock Cars Championship as they head to the Indianapolis Oval course. Everyone's familiar with Indy Oval, an absolute staple point of motorsport really, as those guys go battle out their stock cars over there. On Tuesday we have got Murphy at 8 o'clock UK time as we come to the final week of season 2, so keep an eye out as we start to crown championships. So get on the back of Wadge there. But so we head to the Azure circuit, or Monaco, to the unknowing fan in the touring car championship. That is going to be a ridiculously difficult race. Those touring cars are about as wide as the Monaco streets, so expect lots and lots of bump drafting, I imagine. On Thursday at 8 o'clock you can join Lecky and Toasty for the final round of the GT1s in Imola, and I believe that one's going to come down to the wire as well, with Linga Bazinga and Little God only separated by 11 points, so that is still all to play for. On Friday you can join Carlin Hicks at 8 o'clock Eastern time as they head to Texas Road Course in the GTEs to settle the final score there, as I settle on the standing points. And this one looks like it is the top 5 look like they are still in contention to take the win, so that is still all to play for. Super close championship for them, and it looks like Wadge has fallen back while I was nattering on. Did I miss something there, Toasty? Toasty's missed it too, but Wadge diving into the pit, so picking up a little bit of damage on that M6, or maybe opting to get some new tyres. We'll wait and find out just for the minute. As he goes to the wrong pit box, that is going to hurt his time. Maybe Wadge's day going from bad to worse here finally gets stopped into the pit box. Are they changing tyres? They aren't, so that's going to be strictly damage repair. CDN now getting ready to hassle the back of Dr. Potford. We'll stick with this for a little while longer. That little Renault not do a little bit of airtime. So, just back to what we've got coming up on Saturday at 8 o'clock. You can join Giacomo as the LMP2s finish at Daytona Road Course, a classic combination, LMP2s and Daytona Road. Not one to be missed, and that is Immortalis, currently the leader of that championship, with Bruce Law only 9 points behind, so that's going to come down to the wire as well. On Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, you can join, I believe it's Pogo still on commentary for that one. You can join the IndyCars as they go to Texas Oval as well. Just bring up the standings for you. And so, Cat Guy currently in the lead, with Green Gaming in second, 33 points behind. So that is probably a done deal, providing Cat Guy just scores 2 points, which should be doable. Great driver talent from him. On Sunday, you can join myself and Toasty in the GT3s as we head to Australia and conquer the mountain that is Bathurst. We are still waiting to find out who's going to be, what the standings are going to be like. It looks like it's going to come down to the wire between Bruce and Blank, depending on this race. And we will find out that score in 24 minutes. Also, if you do enjoy the content, if you do enjoy the stream, show some love, hit that like and press subscribe buttons and show support to the channel. It helps us massively. Our website is going under a little bit of changes at the minute. However, if you go to www.fluxmotorsport.com, you should still be able to sign up and come and get involved in our Discord, whether you just want community races, a little bit of setup help, or get involved in the championships. There is something there for everyone. So I have let slip. We are doing a little bit of work on the website, as I mentioned. So keep an eye out for the announcement on that one, as we've got some exciting changes coming for you all. So getting back to our race, lap 16, 23 minutes left to go. So we're approaching the halfway mark. Bruce Law, this man here, has been in front from the get-go. That Janetta looks like it's almost on eco-saving mode. Not a lot of noise coming out from it. Not a lot of hassle, not a lot of fuss, which is probably exactly how Bruce wants it. We're going to wait until he finishes this lap, and we're going to do our ride along on board of Dubai Autodrome National. Get everything out of the way for you here. See what Bruce is seeing. So this is the final corner, 14. Trying to get the best exit that you can, trying to take too much of the curve, and it is full beans down into turn 1. Looking for maybe just after the 100 board if you're brave. We'll see where Bruce breaks. It is just after the 100, looking to just clip that apex and get the best run that you can up this little hill. There is turn 2 to get as much of the track into turn 3. Looks like he runs a little bit wide and clips for turn 4, using all of the track through 5 into 6. This section is a absolute sod, trying to get on the brakes and turn to make 7. See, Bruce nails the apex there, gets a great run out of into 8. Another long sweeping left-hander, tricky braking zone. This one stays nice and tight through what could be classed as 9. Onto this short straight, which normally would run all the way down to the bottom. It doesn't, stop short and goes hard into 10, 11, and there is 12. Back onto the track that we are now familiar with. There is 13, trying to get that long sweeping right-hander right, set you up best for turn 14 here. Just past the 100 board nice and patient on the throttle, let the car rotate. It is sharper than it thinks, and that is one lap of the Dubai Autodrome National Course, as demonstrated by Bruce in flawless fashion, and we would expect nothing less. So, just looking back through the grid, and let's see if we can find anything brewing here. There is snarling. It looks like he's gearing himself up to have a little dance with Flux Motorsport. Nothing doing just of yet. We have had a few retirements. Looks like Lucas had some catastrophic engine failures, and Reno King, our reserve for the evening, not able to finish the race. You have the two Z4s of Green Gaming and Survivor unable to make it. Their car's not being shipped to the right track. They're going to meet us ahead at Betfair. So it looks like we just had someone else drop out there, but I can't see who it was. Jack, Dr. CN, Lingo is still here.
Wedge, I think Wedge.
I think you're right, it is Wedge. We did see him go into the pits for some repair. Maybe they were unable to fix it and had to retire the car, so we are down to 10 in round 7 of the GT3 Championship. I think this is going to be the lowest number of finishing cars we've had all season. Not that any of these guys are going to go playing, they're going to be scoring good points from it.
Yeah, Menzies has a good shot here of getting as many points as he can to catch up to third, who is Wedge in the championship, and get that spot locked in for next season. Chooses to race at the GT3s next season.
Very good spot indeed, Tozy. So just for those watching at home, so you have a bit of an insight of how it works. The first, second and third finishers in the championship automatically get their seat booked for next season. So that is what they're racing for, really. That is their early ticket. They get an early pass to pick their car liveries as well. Everyone else then is shuffled up, so it becomes fastest finger first on the sign-ups, meaning that keeps it nice and fair, really, amongst our community. Who gets a shot? We get to see some different faces come through the ranks, and really it's proven to be a tried and tested method, as we've had a great season here. Different talents coming through, showcasing what they can do and really starting to mix it up. We saw Blankfile last season, his rookie season, come and take the win. So Jack is definitely going to want to be, as you said, get as many points as he can to secure that seat for next season. That will upset Wadge. Looks like the temperature is starting to get the best of everyone a little bit here. Everyone's sort of sitting sort of 2 and 5 seconds off each other, not wanting to get too close at this stage, trying to cool everything back down. Blankfile has got a lot of work to do, about a 3-second gap to Bruce, and he can't afford really to tyre save or fuel save. He's just got to absolutely gun for it, and you can see Bruce just in the foreground there, disappearing out of shot. That's what that gap looks like. 2.4 seconds is deceptively short, I think. Bruce will be, Blankfile, sorry, will be able to see Bruce out of his cockpit, but just out of reach. As we jump on board, you can see what there. You can see the little dot of Bruce Lord just up the track, and that is 2.8 seconds ahead. And as we follow him around this track, you should see the little tail end of that Janetta just disappearing out of view momentarily, and that will probably be enough to keep Blankfile motivated to keep pressing on. There's the man he needs to beat, and he just within reach and without out of reach all at the same time. It's got to be frustrating. You can see him really attacking the curbs there, and Bentley be careful not to unsettle it. It has been known to be extremely stable though, so maybe Blankfile just having the confidence he needs in the car to be able to attack those curbs in that way and get the absolute maximum out of the track. 2.7 seconds the gap at the minute. As we look back here, 16 minutes left to go as we approach the final. Well, I almost feel like the last 50 minutes is the final stint where everyone turns everything back up and has their final go at it. We're very much fast approaching that point as we see CDN looking to get something done on Dr. Potford, or at least begin to set something up. That McGann, his teammate Luke, unable to keep that Renault alive for the whole race, so Renault only scoring half points this time out. You see CDN takes a real tight line through 8 and 9. Dr. Potford opting to play it a little bit looser, running a wider entry, maybe just keep letting him carry a little bit more speed down that short straight, which could be keeping this battle alive. And as we just look up the grid just in front of these two, we've got Jack starting to get on the back of Snarling, and can't see the front of Snarling's car. I wonder whether we picked up damage on that little excursion he had on the exit of turn 1. It looks like that has had a little knock, so maybe that McLaren not in its full fighting form, and Snarling is paying the price for it as Jack is closing up quite quickly. Gives Snarling a little look into one, but nothing doing just yet.
Yeah, that McLaren isn't going to be nearly as slippery in the air, getting the air trapped under that hood there. It's going to have much less top speed.
It wasn't designed that way, no. We've got Angie coming up in the comments here. Blankfile is doing a consistent 121s in the Boatley. He is indeed. Blankfile is pushing the hell out of that. Jack getting some style points in. That's going to be a 6.5, I reckon. What about you?
I'd give it a 7.
A 7? Wow. You're obviously much more lenient on the style points than I am. I might be able to give him another half a point if it was intentional.
Oh, okay.
But Angie saying that, just mentioning Blankfile's lap times there, the consistent 121s. Blankfile looks like last time out did a 121.9, Bruce did a 121.94, Blankfile a 129.92. So, for all intents and purposes, nothing in it between the two of them. Whether Bruce is able to maintain the 129 pace is to be seen, although that gap isn't coming down. If anything, it's got a little bit bigger. So Bruce obviously still got a few answers for that Boatley as of yet. It's very much like a David and Goliath, this ride, where you've got the little tiny Ginetta that I didn't think was actually going to perform very well this season at all. Normally a very underpowered car, but Bruce has definitely had the spanners on it and has angered it somewhat, and it is moving along. But Blankfile's big, heavy Bentley, loads of power, has just been it's been interesting. A bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Opposites. So Blankfile unable to get anything done just yet, still sitting about 3 seconds off. We will keep an eye on that gap as we come to fast approach the final 10 minutes, 12 minutes left to go. Lap 24. Tyres are probably cooked. Drivers have probably sweated themselves of their own body weight in this blistering heat in Dubai, clear across all sessions, so not a cloud to be seen, just pure sunshine. It looks like CDN still hanging on the back of Dr. Potford, but not able to get it done just yet. It looks like we've seen this before from CDN. I wonder whether he's pushing that Renault hard to get on the back of Doctor, and then when he gets there hasn't got anything left in the car to actually get the move done. He sort of found himself in a bit of a to and fro situation. Dr. Potford, we know, is from last season, drive super consistently, especially in that Ferrari rarely makes mistakes. He secured third place and secured his seat for this season because of it. Started the season in the NSX. Dr. Potford opted to change a couple of weeks ago, not getting the power that he wanted out of it, opting to get back to Old Faithful. That has since had better results since making the swap. Currently hanging on to 9th place. As I've said, he makes no mistakes. There's a little wobble coming out the turn of 13 there. Can he get it back together for 14 for this main straight, or is this going to be what CDN needed to close that gap? You can see Jack just getting into turn 1, way up in the distance. Just to give you all a bit of perspective. Obviously, Bruce setting a 121.6 last time out, blank file with a 122.0, so Bruce still has got answers for blank file as of yet, as we've hit the 10-minute marker. So, not long left to go until this all comes to a head. We are seeing a lot of time penalties on the board at the minute. From 5th down to 10th, everyone has got a time penalty of some description, so this could all still be mixed up. As of yet, Linger in 3rd place with a decent gap either side of him. Blank file nearly 15 seconds up the road, but Toten nearly 10 seconds back, or 5 seconds back, sorry. So he's found himself in a little bit of clean air. CDN unable to make any significant gains just yet. Just flip up the pack just a little bit. This is Jack in his Ferrari after we saw him smoke some tyres a little bit. Obviously they weren't up to temperature as he would have liked. And we can see Snarling up the road. So Snarling last time out did a 127.4 and Jack did a 123.3. So Jack is moving significantly quicker. I'm not sure whether Snarling had a little sideways moment himself or struggling from the damage on the front end of that McLaren, as Toasty pointed out earlier. We'll keep an eye and see. It looks like Jack has got that Ferrari collected and back underneath him for the final 9 minutes left to go. So, as you said, Toasty, Jack trying to score as many points as he can after Wadge unable to finish. This could, 3rd place could swap hands as of yet.
Yeah, he'll definitely be looking to not only secure that position for next season, but also get a podium finish in the championship standings, which is a huge achievement, seeing just the competition level here we have in this series.
Absolutely, the GT3 driver pool is one of the richest, I think, that we have. Some of them in reserve, some of them on the grid week in, week out, but it appears no matter where you wherever your skill set, there's racing to be done, whether it's at the front, middle, or towards the back of the grid. There is something for everyone. As you see, there's like Jack 122.6 last time out, Snarling 123.9. So Snarling not got an answer for Jack's pace as of yet. This could be heating up in the next lap or two. Brewster did a 122 dead, Blankfile doing a 122 dead near enough last time out as well, so not much changing between them two. Bruce looks like he's managing that gap with the precision that we'd expect from Bruce, to be honest. Great drive from him from the get-go. The man to watch is this man here, and CDN just behind him. Looks like he's fallen off the back of Dr. Potford. So Dr. Potford's got a bit of breathing space for the time being. Snarling is going to be feeling the pressure of that Ferrari bearing down on him, as he can see it get closer and closer every single lap. Let's see what the lap times are this time round. Has Snarling been able to do anything to answer the pace from Jack? 123.1 and a 123.1 from Jack, so much the same from the pair, but that's not going to be enough from Snarling's point of view. He's going to need to go quicker to start to extend that gap back out. As you see Jack getting more style points, that's going to hurt him. and gets on board for good measure. Hopefully doesn't get any damage from that. They are more solid than you would think. And I'll try and give as much airtime as we possibly can. These two up the front, both drivers with long history racing together at Curb Clippers. Team Angie in the chat showing support for the both of them. I think she's the real winner, really. If either of them win, she wins. So she'll be happy with the result either way. But Bruce managing the gap to Blank File superbly. Blank unable to get that Bentley really to in a position where it can hassle that Janetta. That Janetta has pulled out that gap and stayed at that gap as soon as the green lights went out, really. Still 5 minutes 40 seconds left to go, so it's not over till it's over. Still time for it to develop and change as of yet. As you can see, Snarling and Jack still staying within touching distance. Jack obviously losing a little bit of time after that turn one slide last lap out, so that will give Snarling a little bit more breathing room, but not loads. He's still going to be feeling the pressure of Jack there. It looks like Chris and Immortalis aren't miles apart either. I wonder if we can get them both in the same camera shot here. We can't. They're only separated by about 4 seconds, so Immortalis has got a decent breathing space for the minute, but he's going to have to be careful not to make any mistakes to keep hold of that 5th place. Toten, great first showing from him. He hasn't had nearly enough airtime, so his first race as a full-time GT3 driver is taking this week and next week's seat in that 69 Mercedes AMG. Good show from him. I believe he qualified 6th in the session, has been able to work himself up to 4th place in the race. Good first show from him. Good boatload of points as well to kickstart his last-ditch effort of a campaign. He won't be able to get any trophies or silverware, but he might definitely be able to get himself into the top 10 if he is lucky, or at least challenge for it, which would be a testament to the talent that he has. Well deserved. So trying to flick through and predict where the next bit of action is going to come from. Still think it is going to be Jack on Snarling. 4 minutes left in the session, so maybe 3, possibly 4 laps to go, depending where they are on track. Currently at lap 31. I imagine the tyres are screaming for mercy after 31 laps of this track in this heat at this pace as well. So Jack last time out at 1:24.7, Snarling with a 1:23.1. So Snarling has been able to maintain that gap for the time being. It looks like that's closed right down. Whether we saw Jack just get a better exit or Snarling not really getting the drive he wanted, this could be it. I predicted this was going to be the next move to come. I didn't realise it was going to be happening this quick. Jack is going to try and get the run into turn 1 now, getting his best exit he can out of 14, using the drag for as long as possible. Is Snarling going to do anything defensive early on? He's not. He does actually. Moves a little bit to the inside and ops straight back to the racing line, just covers it off. I was telling Jack just to get his nose out of there. 2 minutes 45 left to go, so still a few laps for Jack to think of something creative to get this move done.
Both Jack Demenzas on the back of Snarling Bongo and CDN on the back of Dr. Popper, almost doing their best impression of a yo-yo, going back and forth here.
There is a lot of that, of closing up, backing off. We've seen that a little bit with Snarling and Jack as well. Jack sort of closing up, losing a little bit, closing up, losing a little bit. As you saw at the end of last lap, he closed right up and is not quite as close as he once was. See a little bit of understeer there. At the end of that back straight, a little wobble on that dip. I told you that was going to catch someone out. This is very messy. from Jack. Obviously, he's got the blinders on. He's seen the red mist, pushing as hard as he can to secure those points, and he's almost trying too hard, which does come with its own risk. Angie shouting out in the chat, respect to all the drivers who finished their race, #never quit, and a shout out to Team Renault because I like their cars. I'm sure CDN will be well happy to hear that. It's a bit of an unusual choice, not one you see week in, week out at the public lobbies, Renault, but it's been good. It served CDN well in Rapuna Park, and Snarling's gone wide on turn 1 there. That's going to allow Jack through. Oh wow, that's almost gifted it to Jack. He couldn't have asked for anything better there. Is Snarling got anything left to fight back immediately with that little damage on the car? It's going to want to be getting it done sooner or later. 55 seconds less to go. We're just going to quick check where Bruce is on track. There's probably going to be one more lap after this one, maybe. I doubt it. So no, this is likely to be the last lap. So Snarling is going to want to be getting this done sooner rather than later. Obviously, these guys are going to get one more go round because of where they are on track. It looks like Snarling hasn't got an answer for Jack, so Jack is just going to be pedal to the metal, just trying to hang on as best he can to try and catch Bruce coming across the start-finish line. Nothing doing there. So this is the man of the day, really. Bruce Law taking pole position in qualifying, about to take the win in the race. We'll have to wait and see if he's got the fastest lap point. That'll be another clean sweep in Dubai for him. Brilliant showing from Bruce. Didn't get quite as much airtime as I would have liked, but it's easy when you're up the front on your own. That could have secured him the championship, but we're going to wait and see till the points come out. Looks like CDN losing it into turn 1. Blankfile comes across the line in second. Good showing from him. Where's Linger out on track in that red McLaren? He's just about to come into the final corner as well. Good drive from Linger. He will score some good points for this. He'll be able to boost his point total up by quite a bit. He had a good showing last week in Rapuna Park with 4, so him starting to get it back together. Toten, first official race out, takes 4th place. He'll be more than happy with that. Brilliant showing from him. Immortalis comes home in 5th. Little slide there, showing he's happy with that. Chris in that Lamborghini holds on to 6th. When all is said and done, Jack is going to keep hold of 7th, but time penalty is still to be applied, everyone, so these aren't confirmed just as of yet. Snarling, so Jack in provisional 7th, Snarling in 8th. They come across the line. Snarling making that little bit of an error into turn 1 there, running wide. Dr. Potford is going to come home in 9th. CDN, as we saw him just have that little blip into turn 1, really step in the rear about some more start points from him. He's going to come home in 10th. But as I said, still some time second penalties to be applied, so we wait and see how this actually plays out. And here we go. So Bruce Law comes home in 1st. He doesn't get fastest lap. Blankfile does. That could be a deciding factor in whether the championship is alive into the next race. So Bruce Law 1st. He gets an extra point for qualifying as well. Blankfile comes home in 2nd. He gets the extra point for fastest lap. In 3rd place, we've got Linga Bazinga. Good showing from him. Toten, as I said, first official race out as a GT3 driver, and he takes 4th. He'll be over the moon with that one. Immortalis coming from towards the back of the grid. I said you can't rule him out. He comes home and gets 5th. Good points for him. Chris Motorsport, a bit of a quiet one for him, really. He ended up in 6th when all is said and done. Good showing for him. Jack holds on to 7th after time penalties, so he'll be happy with that. And it looks like Snarling actually lost out the most, so he swaps places with Dr. Potford, who gets home in 8th. He'll be more than pleased with that one. And Snarling with a 21-second penalty. I wonder what he got that for. Maybe speeding in the pit lane, but I don't think I saw him pit, so it could just be a collection of points, maybe a little stewards inquiry going in on that one. And CDN Trooper rounding out the top 10 in that Renault Megane. Luke unable to get that Renault to the end, he's retired to the pit lane. So that concludes round 7 of the GT3 Championship here at Flux Motorsport. Thank you for those who joined. Flush and Angie, thank you for sticking with us. Great to see you again, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Stick around for the stock car race coming up in a few hours, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. If you want to get involved, head to www.fluxmotorsport.com and hit the driver sign up button to come through to our Discord, where we host community races, championship races like this one, set up help, you name it. There's a little bit of something for everyone. I've been your host of the console. I've been joined by Toasty. Thank you for coming along, mate. Back to Dubai. I told you the cocktails were good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Bathurst already. I heard Blankfile was looking forward to that one too.
Absolutely. Bathurst should be a track for the Bentley, really. A bit of altitude, and that big turbo will be kicking in, so we should see the Mercedes do well, and maybe the Lamborghini, as memory serves. But I've said that every race thus far, and Bruce has proved me wrong with his little Jetta, so I'm going to keep my predictions to myself now to make sure I don't look stupid. But with that said, thank you all for coming tonight. I've been your host of the console. I've been joined by McToasty, and we will see you all next week. Thank you and good night.